Hello, this is Patrick Corcoran, and this is my week 4 backend coding assignment. First thing we were tasked with here is creating an array of integers that we have here. And then we were asked to programmatically subtract the value of the first element from the value of the last element. So we found the last element by ages.length minus 1, since we're using 0 indexing. And the first element is ages sub 0. And that gives us 93 minus 3, which gives us 90. And then we were asked to create a new array with one more value to prove that that still worked. So I added a value of 8 here in the middle. But the end result is the same. It's 93 minus 3, which gives us 90. And then we were asked to use a loop to iterate through the array and calculate the average. We get that here, and that gives us 28. So then we went on to an array of strings: Sam, Tommy, Tim, Sally, Buck, and Bob. And we were asked to iterate through and calculate the average number of letters per name. So we looped through and set a counter variable and added names.length of each element as it looped through. And then we printed out that counter variable divided by the length of the array itself, which gives us an average of 3 letters per name. And then we were asked to loop through and concatenate all the names together, which is here. Sam, Tommy, Tim, Sally, Buck, and Bob, all right next to each other. 3. So how do you access the last element of an array? It's the array length minus 1 because of 0 indexing. And array sub 0 is the very first element of the array. Then we created a new array of integers called name lengths. We wrote a loop to iterate over the previous array and add the lengths of each of the name as the new array, which you get here: 3, 5, 3, 5, 4, 3. And then question 6 asked us to loop through and then calculate a sum of all those elements, which was 23. And then we get into the methods here. The first one was asked to take a string and an integer as arguments and return a word concatenated to itself that number of times. So I passed in hello and 3 into concat word down here, and that gives us hello, hello, hello. The second one asked us to take 2 strings, a first name and a last name, and concatenate them together and return a full name. There's my name there. Question 9 asked us to take an array of ints and return true if the sum of all of those integers in the array was greater than 100. So I used the ages array from earlier, since we already had it going, and that does indeed add up to more than 100. So that returns true. 10, ran a method that takes an array of double and returns an average of all the elements in the array. So basically redid the ages array as doubles, and running it through the average down here, we get 28.75, which is nifty. Earlier we were only using integers, so you just got 28. Using the double gives you the decimal points and a much more accurate answer. So then question 11, we write a method that takes 2 arrays of double and returns true if the average of the elements in the first array is greater than the other one. So I actually reused the get average method to get an average of each of these 2 arrays of doubles, and then ran this method here to do the comparison. So the first one is indeed a higher average than the second one, so it does return true. And we were asked to write a method called will by drink that takes in a boolean, whether or not it's hot outside, and a double of money in your pocket. And if it is hot outside and you have more than $10.50 in your pocket, it'll return true. And since we're working with it is hot outside and we have $12, and it returns true. Last one here, we're asked to create a method of our own that solves a problem. I had a daughter that recently got her license, so I felt applicable here. So we pass in a boolean of has license, and currently set to false, and the driver's age, which I have set to 17. So if they have a license is true and the driver age is greater than or equal to 16, it'll return true. Currently it's false since we don't have a license, so we can change that to true. And now they can drive. That was my coding assignment for this week. Thank you very much for watching.